Hi Aries, here's a general look at your solar chart for February 2013 with some January thrown in. And over January, probably you were thinking more seriously about your responsibilities, maybe about where you're going from here, long term. Maybe you were thinking about how to achieve certain goals and targets, and there could have been more paperwork connected to those, more correspondence, more chat connected to that kind of thing. Also, some of you could have crossed paths with more officialdom, bureaucracy at this time, and you could have been a little bit frustrated at certain restrictions or limitations as you saw them related to the status quo. And some of you could have had more contact with parents, guardians, bosses, others that you sort of look up to in life. And tradition, being more aware of the tradition, and particularly, historically in your life. And then from January the 20th to February the 19th, the sun comes into a progressive area, a faster paced area where there's just a very sociable area, actually mixing and mingling and rubbing shoulders with others, which is a period where you can further things, you can progress with things. You just get this feeling as though something's beginning to move forwards now. You're maybe seeing it as in an experimental sort of light, seeing it, you're being tentative, you're saying, okay, we'll see how this goes. And also being more flexible would be a good idea, as the unconventional or the unexpected could suddenly pop up. But in general, it is actually quite an upbeat energy with where in the area the sun is going to be in. And then from February the 19th, everything kind of starts to calm down, and you go into this sort of incubation period whilst the sun is in the sign before yours. And it doesn't mean to say everything sort of halts and stops. It means that you can be getting on with things in your own space, or in your own imagination, or in your own way, in your own private little bubble, whatever it is, alone or maybe with a select few others, but more going on in the background of your life than in the foreground of your life, really. In fact, that begins to happen when your ruling planet goes in there. Just the first feeling of it is when your ruling planet goes in there on February the 2nd. But it really kicks in more by the time we get to February the 19th. Nothing happens quickly with these planets. They roll around the heavens, and they take their time, and they're not in a hurry. So this is a phase when you should be more in touch with your higher self, your deeper instincts, and your deeper emotions as well. So some of you could, it could be easier to push your buttons from that time in February there, well, really even from early February. Now, until no, it wouldn't be easy to push your buttons, would it? But it's more, that's a time when it's more likely that you can be your own worst enemy in some sort of way, Now, from the 19th of January to February the 6th, Mercury puts the mental focus upon your furthering your aims, not through what you know so much as who you know. So interesting connections, recommendations through friends or through associations, so progressing with things, but it will be through your connections, really, and also over the wires. Useful and unusual information could be coming your way, and also unconventional experiences could be coming your way, and more group involvement is likely. And you feeling as though that you're learning a lot, maybe through this, and at least being informed. Okay, at least feeling informed. And then from February the 6th until right on into mid-April 2013, Mercury is going to be in this, what I call the incubation area. the incubation ward, as it were, where you're thinking on deeper levels, you're thinking maybe a little bit more emotionally sometimes, but you're sensing and intuiting on deeper levels, because feeling and sensing is not the same as feeling emotionally. So both of those become sensitized, and really you got to get perhaps some baggage out of the way, or some old habits out of the way, which kind of muddy the waters and get in the way of real clear sensing and knowing beyond logic. So you can be a little preoccupied actually with Mercury in this area here. It's easier to zone out and to not actually be quite in this world, and then you kind of blip in and out really. Things could be up in the air, you know, there could be more questions than answers at this time. But if you go with the flow of that to the extent that you can in everyday life, this kind of drifting, floating, imaginative, sensitive, spiritual, but very healing energy, if you can go with that and do nice things for yourself and not expect too much of yourself, then you can do well with that, and that's a very, very long transit. Venus is from the 9th of January to the 2nd of February in an area where people in positions to help you out in a worldly sense, or related to your career, or related to goals that you've had to achieve. Maybe you're relying on you, maybe you're relying on them, maybe you look up to them, maybe you're in positions of power or authority. They're likely to, you're likely to be in a friendly sort of mood with them, and they can facilitate you, they can enable you to be successful or to achieve whatever you want to achieve. You can have very positive interaction with these sorts of people, and you can be firm and friendly towards, you're feeling more friendly towards these sorts of people, but they also to you. So if you need to apply to somebody who is you know, an establishment figure, or somebody who can help you climb a ladder of success, this would be a good time to do it between February the 2nd and up until February the 2nd. But even from February the 2nd to February the 26th, Venus is in a very sociable mood, and you feel the support of friends there, helping you move forwards with something, or indeed you team up. It's a good time to team up a little bit more than you normally do, Aries, and group gatherings are very well starred, and anything to do with the internet as well, and you can your contribution is more valued, and also you tend to value others' contribution very much, and connecting with people who are working all together for a common cause is more likely. And then from the 26th, Venus also dips down into this sort of incubating area, into this sort of chrysalis, because actually where the Sun is going to be going, and where Mercury is going to be staying until mid-April, and Venus is going there too, and also Mars, is the area which is sort of like the forerunner to the time that the Sun goes into your sign. So it's sort of like you need to have a bit of a rest, or you need to regenerate, you need to recharge your batteries a bit before the Sun comes into your sign, which will be very dynamic, but it will still have Mercury sitting and sort of pondering, and maybe looking at the stars, or just being a little bit more introspective during the time, some of the time the Sun's in your sign, from March, later in March onwards. Mars is in a very sociable area until February the 2nd, and more energy and perhaps initiative and decisiveness will be demanded of you because of who you know, and a team or a group of people, or just friends, or maybe it's just one friend, There's always one that just wants that little bit more, isn't there? And you would be expected to take the initiative, others looking towards you for some reason. You could feel yourself a bit overloaded at times because of all the stuff you've got to do on behalf of others or just this one other person. But again, there's this feeling of positive feeling here. It's not too draining. But Mars always needs to be kept under control, because Mars will just gallop off and doesn't really have an off button, So you need to look after yourself and not get overstretched. But definitely take the initiative whilst Mars is during the time that up until February the 2nd. And then Mars goes into this cocoon, this lower key background area, which tends to mute the natural physical stamina of Mars. So kind of, the gas is turned down low, as it were, and the flame is just on low during the time that Mars is here. So good time to be looking after yourself and not be out there expecting yourself. Don't expect yourself to be out there or singing or dancing. Allow others to take the strain. Just let go whenever you can. And be supportive, because others will need your support. However, try to look after yourself as well, because you need your support. But feeling more self-reflective, looking inwards, maybe working with the law of attraction, and maybe working in spirituality or in a psychic way, or in a healing kind of a way. So meditation and anything to do with psychic development, healing, this would be all par for the course whilst Mars is going through here, plus Mercury as well. And of course the Sun's going to be going through there at some point in that time frame. So because your energy's turned inwards, you're nearer to your subconscious, your imagination, and other realms. So just look after the physical side of things a little bit more, because you're just more open then. But then you can just sort of drift and float a little bit more than you normally do anyway. And when I looked at the first big aspect for us all for 2013, it's a really fantastic one. It's Mars in Aquarius and Jupiter in Gemini, which is sort of is a very positive, optimistic feeling of growth and unfolding of great potential for the whole of 2013. Of course, it is a new year, but also it's new in a much larger sense, which is that we've come into the time of this young light. The first glimmerings of the dawn are now here at last, and we have this greater light, this more powerful light pervading the earth, as we've left now the old age, which finished officially on the 21st of December 2012, and we've come into this new age, which many call the age of Aquarius. But in reality, we are still very much within the constellation of Pisces, but feeling the vibe of Aquarius stronger and stronger and stronger. But the new light is more than that, than just another age coming up, which they do tend to pop up every 2,000 years or so. So we've actually sort of notched up a level, and there's a lot of change happening throughout our solar system anyway. And this planet is just one of many planets going around our particular sun in an outer spiral arm of the Milky Way. So anyway, for you, Jupiter until mid-year is expanding you, is giving you a more upbeat kind of approach. You could be toing and froing more in your locality, but learning a lot through rubbing shoulders with different types of people. You could be in a community, or connecting with a community, which is a busy hub of learning activity for you. And so that is how you should be doing it, whether it's formal learning or informal. This is a time when you are on quite a learning curve, and it will be useful to you in the future to have a few, more different experiences I meant increased different experiences and maybe a new string or two to your bow, because new pathways will be carved not only in your physical landscape but in your mental landscape. If you work with Jupiter energy here, and Saturn has now moved out of that really very awkward and prickly and sharp angle to your sun sign where it was for 2.5 years, and it's now gone into a from many points of view easier area. Although wherever Saturn is, we've all of us got to really sort of sweat a bit more and work harder. Now in the 8th house of your solar chart, which means that in one way or another you'll be clearing the decks and making space for new growth, but working very hard to do that for new growth in another area. And this can involve your property or a property, can involve finances, also anything to do with a relationship, a contract, an agreement, moral obligations that you have to another. So you'll be ditching this in order to make space for that, or modifying this in order to allow more elbow room for that, you know, over this over this just a bit more than 2 years. And there's, for some of you, there could be like a removal of a certain resource that you thought you were going to have, but it's not going to be there, and you feel the lack of that. But this gives you the opportunity to make a gear change, and that's what this area is about: changing gear. You've got Uranus in your sign, which means that there's lots of surprises that have ambushed you, that have changed your life forever. You earlier Arians will understand this. You'll be thinking, phew, I'm glad that's over. But still you've got Pluto to contend with as well. But both Pluto and Uranus are moving further on, but they are evolving you into a greater understanding, into a more liberated version of yourself. And even though you may not like it at the time, when you look back, perhaps you'll think, I'm really glad those things happened, because I wouldn't be where I am now. Neptune is working very subtly from behind the scenes, sensitizing you to maybe a different type of reality, or maybe giving you a softer, more compassionate approach with others. And Pluto is changing how others see you, the role you play in the world, but you must follow your gut instinct when making decisions and deciding which way to go. And that's it for this segment of 2013. And listen to your rising sign or your moon sign if you know what they are. They'll add to or subtract from what I've said here, and I hope you have a very fruitful and juicy 2013, and I'll see you the next time.